I mean, surely nobody would cheat in here or anything like that.
What's going on, boys? Dan M here. Now, before we get into this spicy fl0m stuff, I kind of want to give you guys an update of what I think's going on in the pro scene, what kind of cheats I think are prevalent right now, and all that fun stuff. So right now, boys, I think there's two possibilities in the tier 1 specifically pro scene, and I think the first one's very unlikely. I think it's that the majority of pros are using some sort of cheat, whether that's injecting through something in their mouse or keyboard, and they're using low FOV, really smooth, highly tailored aimbots, or some sort of, not necessarily radar, but something that's going to give them indications of where enemy players are. As we go through this video, I'll show you some examples of what I think that could be. But I think more likely scenario is that a very small handful of tier 1 pros are cheating. There's got to be some that snuck through from tier 2 and 3, but I think the majority are not cheating. I've been watching a ton of pro CS lately. I've watched like 80-90% of the majors. I don't think much cheating's going on, especially the amount of people that get snuck up on and surprised. I definitely don't think there's any sort of information cheats going on, or at least very little. Now the aimbot, that's a whole nother story. Realistically, nowadays with the type of cheats there are, we would actually never know by just watching a video or watching a demo. You would actually never even know, because the aimbots are now so sophisticated, and if they had very expensive tailor-made cheats, you would never know. But to start calling them out for that is insane, because like, what are you gonna see? You can't see anything. It's not like back in the day when there was aim locks and the guys were literally locking on through the walls. You know, cheats have advanced a lot more. So anyways, boys, let's take a look at this clip here, and I'm going to explain why I think there's still some cheating in the tier 1 scene.
Cheats, boot kits, and then DMA is the most hyped thing right now. DMA means direct access to a game's memory. Thus, we can see everything that's happening in the game, and any anti-cheat won't notice a thing. But DMA cheats have one special thing: its developers must always be on the alert to find new ways to hide it, because anti-cheats get regular updates. Also, the funniest thing is that many FACEIT AC staff came there from developing cheats.
Okay, boys, so first of all, before we go into the tier 1 stuff, this is them talking about DMA, and DMA is most likely what the tier 2 and 3 guys, maybe even tier 1, are using at home. So this is like a physical chip that's going to go into your motherboard itself. I know there's even some that use separate PCs to stream the cheats through, but this is most likely these guys that are cheating on FACEIT and stuff like that. This is most likely the way they're getting through.
Do you have info about any tier 1 player that uses cheats? Only theoretical. It's most likely possible. I'm not sure about tier 1, but anyway, no one would say something like that, because it would stir the pot. But there are 100% some cheaters in tier 2 and...
Now this clip right here, boys, I think this is the smoking gun, if you want to know if there's actually tier 1 pros cheating. Because these guys' reaction, if you watch the rest of this whole interview, he interviews them for a while, he gets them comfortable, their reaction to this is the sketchiest reaction. Especially Buddy here on the right, with his shifty little eyes. There's clearly something they know, and they're very uncomfortable to question. As you can see what he does right now.
But anyway, no one would say something like that, because it would stir the pot. But there are 100% some cheaters in tier 2 and tier 3. There are also some FACEIT cheats, but they need to be secure and protected. The most popular thing right now is DMA. It's something like a separate PCI.
So almost right away here, he wants to stop talking about tier 1 cheats. And then he goes to talk about DMA. He's already talked about DMA. He immediately wants to get off this topic of tier 1 cheats and start talking about DMA again. He goes on to explain DMA again. It makes zero sense. There's obviously something going on here, boys.
But if we're talking about tier 3 level or higher, oftentimes cheat developers get a cut of the player's winnings. Oh my god. Yeah, it's true. At least I know of some cases from a few years ago.
Alright, so now he's going to talk about how tier 3 or higher, the cheat developer gets a cut of their winnings. Suddenly he knows about this. But he only knows about it from a few years ago. He just heard about it.
At least I know of some cases from a few years ago.
Now, boys, this next part is a very important part of the video. This is when the developers are talking about what actual cheats would be being used by these higher tier players. And this is why I was saying earlier that even if all the pros were cheating, we would never even know. Okay, these new aimbots are so realistic, you literally cannot tell. So pay attention to this clip here because it's really important going forward with tier 1 cheating.
So what are these cheats? Wall hack? It's not aimbot, right? Because that's got to be the easiest one to spot. Actually, it's easier to get caught with wall hack. Seriously? It's more like an aimbot or aim assist. Many people think that aimbot is the easiest one to spot because your crosshair sticks to the enemy's head. But today, smart cheat devs are on a completely different level. Today, some cheats can adapt to your playstyle by checking how fast you move the mouse and what kind of KDA you have. It's like on consoles, but not as aggressive as Call of Duty. Everything is smooth because the cheat analyzes how you play and tries to imitate you.
So here, boys, you can see they're talking about the aimbots being really smooth and pretty much undetectable to human eye. Now, I have seen one clip in CS2 that I can't wrap my head around. And here it is, boys.
Throw that up there, grab this. Now get ready to swing mid. They are right next to each other. Oh! Swing mid. They are right next to each other. Oh! Mid. They are right next to each other. Oh!
By checking how fast you move the mouse and what kind of KDA you have. Many people think that aimbot is the easiest one to spot because your crosshair sticks to the enemy's head. But today, smart cheat devs are on a completely different level.
This map from this point, a very dominant position of 6-1. I think, like, you can't really do...
Alright, boys, enough of that. So in terms of this fl0m situation, I'll be honest, I don't think he's on the gear. Or at least I have zero video evidence to say so. I think what happened is just in this clip here with his M4, and he's probably been reported a ton of times. Now, that doesn't mean he's not cheating, but in this specific instance, I think that's what's going on. But boys, I have an open mind. If you got clips of fl0m doing BS stuff, send them over. Because as far as I know, he doesn't really plan any lands. But like I said, from this short, I think there's 3 or 4 rounds alone. 3 rounds only. There's no way to tell. I'm assuming what's happening is just pre-firing that spot with the M4. And he's getting dinks. He's already been reported a ton of times. And it just triggered something in VAC. Or it could be a trigger bot. And then he just plays it up with a couple pre-fires. Who knows, boys? But that's my opinion. Well, boys, that's enough out of me. Mostly I just wanted to show you guys that we got to be really careful to call people out these days because it is really hard to see cheats now. That Tessus clip is especially sketchy, Because if you look at it slow, at first I thought maybe he got the first kill and then he was just swinging out to move away. But it literally locks onto the next guy in such a fast period of time. It's the second AK bullet. So I don't know, someone do the math in the comments how fast that is. Like, you obviously would not be able to react that fast to flick over. So that's like, that one I can't explain. There's something going on there. But boys, you know what? It's about time for me to wrap this video up. Thanks for watching, boys. Get hyped, because guess what time it is? It's time for the major, boys. Take care, guys. God bless.